Welcome to Vinniesdayoff. Today we're going to bushcraft an emergency handle for this axe. I'm doing this to take part in the cordwood axe challenge. This is a micro challenge to bushcraft an emergency axe handle. There are a few problems we have to overcome, so we'll see how we get over that. I'm also going to review this knife. Let's give you a close-up. I'm also reviewing this knife, the Otter Anchor Knife. I was given this on loan from my friend Stephen in the UK. Thank you very much, Stephen. And I've had this a while. I've been meaning to review it for a long time, but I haven't got around to it. So today is the day. So this will be part of the video. Right, let's get on to the handle. I was going to use hazel, but I came across this fairly straight piece of willow. Willow is a soft wood, not suitable for an axe handle, but for an emergency axe handle to get you out of trouble, I reckon it'll do. We're going to try it anyway. As ever, cutting willow doesn't do it any harm whatsoever. If you cut this, it'll shoot out branches and keep on growing. Willow is very much a renewable resource. So I'm not killing anything, I'm not damaging anything. It'll grow away perfectly well. This is a reasonably thick piece, so how are we going to cut this? Well, we still have an axe head. A hand axe was one of the very first tools made by our primitive ancestors. So I'm going to carefully and gently have a go at this. Okay. It's a bit uncomfortable, let me tell you. Not too bad now. We won't cut upwards, we'll cut straight in. And I'm not going wild with this because I don't want to pick up an injury. Okay, so we're about a third of the way through. I'm going to start working on the back cut here as well. I probably won't make you sit through all of this, but I'd just like once again to recommend Ben Scott's channel if you're anyway interested in axes. And I'd also recommend the Cordwood Challenge if you're interested in using axes. It's a great way to learn. Take a little more here. Right guys, so I have a fair bit of that cut, but I can tell you one thing, this is really uncomfortable. So I'm going to take this little willow stick and I'm going to make a small, light makeshift handle just to allow me to cut the next handle, okay? Now, I'm going to make this in the same way some of the American Indians used to make war clubs. They'd get a stick, split it, tie in a stone, okay? So I'm going to split this out and tie in my axe handle, carefully splitting so it doesn't run through and cut myself. Now I have a piece of rope. Some light string or paracord would be better. We have to use what we have to use, don't we? I want to stop the split going too far. So that's my butcher's jam knot. Let's see how this goes. Do you reckon, Vinny? Should I shove it in more? I'll try that. Now, I'm going to tie this rope onto this to give me good leverage, good power. Just take a few wraps here, being careful now. This is an old axe. This is an old axe that I use for splitting, and it has an odd shaped eye that doesn't really fit a standard handle, which is why I'm using it for this. And it's not really sharp for proper cutting. Right, let's get some strain on that now to hold it in place. But I've given it a rough sharpening job. Hopefully now we can have enough strain on it that it'll hold the head in place for us. And I want to be careful now pulling towards myself either. Yeah. So there we go. It's crude and it's a bit wonky, but hopefully it'll allow us to chip it out more comfortably. The head is moving back, but it's still allowing me to cut much more easily than I could before. We'll let it go for as long as it'll hold. Not too far off there anyway. We're about ready. Just move you guys out of the way. So you can see how the axe head moved back, but it still held it. So I'm going to try tying it back here and see if that's more usable. And I'll chip off the top. Can you see? Let's move you around. I'll chip off the top of this guy and try and shape him a bit. Get back to you. Okay, so I've retied my handle and I've used the broken stub here, broken inverted commas, to try and secure it. So hopefully it'll last a little longer. So as I say, now we need to cut this to length. head is moving out of alignment, but it's still holding. Bloody twine is in the way. The rope is too long. Let's see what we can get done. You can forget about your normal accuracy. With this thing, I can tell you, we're nearly through. Let's turn it. Yes. Okay. One potential axe handle. It must be soft on the head. Okay, so I've retied my axe head. This time I'm hoping the shape will hold it in place for a little longer anyway. It's a bit of a nuisance, but I tell you, it would be a nightmare to work with your hands on this. It's very rough, very hard in the hands. Not going too bad, just have to take it gently. It's like DIY, you keep running into all these problems, and by the time you're finished, you've figured out how to do it. Too late, usually in my case. And we don't want to take too much off either. Well, you're getting in the way, eh? Come on, Dice. Goodbye, Dicey. Good boy. Good lad. Oi. Yeah. I've been chipping away there for a good while, guys, and this is the best way I found to make a quick and nasty handle for the axe, using the flared shape here, tightly wound around that to kind of hold it in place. I've supported it here as well at the back, and just by gently chipping away, that seems to be holding fairly well. See if you can see that, yeah? As I say, your normal accuracy or whatever is out the window with this thing. It's rough and ready. It's getting some work done at the same time. Okay guys, hopefully now the light isn't in your eyes, one roughed out axe handle, and I mean roughed out, and the axe is holding up fairly well this way for handy chipping. So I think it's time now for my pocket knife, the little Anker Messer, Anker Knife in German, and we have to remove this broken axe handle. How are we going to do that? This is our broken axe head, and we need to remove this handle. Now this is quite a difficult job normally. Now this axe head is a little bit misshapen, so don't worry about it. Normally this part of the handle flares out and is too thick to be driven through the eye. This part then is wedged, so it can't be beaten through either. So how are we going to remove this? Normally I would drill a number of holes through it, and that would weaken the timber enough that I could punch it out with a chisel or something like that. But we don't have any of those luxuries now. So what I'm going to do is burn it out. Now normally if you put an axe head in the fire, you damage the hardening and temper of it. And just very quickly, if you don't understand what hardening or tempering is, if you've ever watched a movie and the blacksmith takes a sword out of the fire and it's cherry red and he plunges it into the bucket of water and a cloud of steam comes off it, when he takes that out, he has hardened it. At that stage, the steel is very hard and very brittle like glass. Then it needs to be tempered. So he'll put it back in the fire and he'll bring it to it. You can observe the colours changing on the steel as it heats up. He'll pick whatever colour he needs and then he'll plunge that into the water, and that will temper it or toughen it. Okay? So normally only the top part of the axe is hardened and tempered. This isn't. Back here. It's just the cutting blade edge. So I need to protect this. I need to protect the hardening and tempering here. What I'm going to do, I saw demonstrated on a video by a chap called Caleb Musgrave. I hope I got his name right. This isn't my idea, it was his idea. And what he did was to bury the axe up to here. Now, this is a wet piece of ground here, so the wet in the ground and the earth itself will protect and absorb any heat that comes through this. And just this part will be burned out. This wood will be burned out, and that won't affect my tempering. So that's the plan anyway. So let's get on with that. There we go. There are lots of people on YouTube who will tell you you must split wood to make a fire. Not one piece of split wood there, mind you. Now, while the fire is doing its thing, I can shape my axe handle. You great little woman. I've had this Otter Messer, I think, since September. I meant to get this review done a long time ago. And I kind of had ideas of it being a hunting video and maybe skinning out a deer and some basic butchery. But that didn't come to pass. But as I say, I've been using it for a while. And I find it to be a good sharp little knife. And a nice size. And as if you've watched my other videos, you know I love the sheep's foot blade. I love that shape. I find it useful. To look at, I really love the clip point or the bowie style. And the heat is getting hot here. But for practical use, I find the sheep's foot very useful. And easy to sharpen. Of course, we have the COVID-19 outbreak going on worldwide. I hope all you guys stay safe. It's a worrying bloody time because this thing can kill healthy people. So it's kind of, you don't know what's going to happen. It's spin the wheel time. You may just get the flu, or you may end up seriously ill, or you may end up dead. And nobody really knows what's going to happen. So I hope all of you stay safe out there, and I wish you the very best, guys. I really do. For yourselves and your families. Whew, smoke. Okay, our handle is loose, but it's not completely burned yet. A little bit of it holding still. Now, there we go. Out she goes. And they say you can't do bushcraft with a folding knife. Don't they say a lot of stupid things on YouTube? This is a good sharp, little slicing knife. I like it. Everything you cut, it just seems to pass through easily. Kind of like an open L or something like that. Now my mallet isn't the best here, but do the best we can with what we have. Flatten this off here a little on the top as well, because we have to get a wedge in there somehow. Okay, so we need to put a wedge in this to hold it in place. We don't have a saw, so I'm going to have to split it. Not the best maybe way, but it's all we can do with what we have, isn't it? Center it as much as possible, and we'll tap that in. That's as good as it's going to get, I think. I don't want to drive the split too far either. It's not too bad. There's a knot holding it. I think that's enough. I need to make my wedge thinner on the edge. That's why I wanted the handle coming out a little. The wedge is another piece of, what do you call it, willow, not the hardest wood, but just shows you what you can do with a sharp little slicing knife, eh? You can do a lot with it. another tiny tap without destroying it. So there we go. Probably not the most beautiful job ever done, but would it get you out of a bind? I think it would. Let's do a little chopping. Now this piece is dead. This is alive, but this will grow back again. Here's my rope and my handle. So a crude willow handle. Now the next part of the test was to see if we can break it, and we'll have a go at that. But first I want to quickly talk about the little Otter Anchor Knife, or Otter Messer. We'll have a quick chat about that. Okay, before we get to the axe handle destruction, I want to quickly discuss the Otter knife and my opinion of it. This is March and I've been using it since last September. I've found that everything I cut, the knife passes through easily, which is what I like in a knife. I just like a nice slicer. So now I'm going to compare it with a few other knives. I know this isn't scientific, I know it's completely subjective, but this is what we're going to do. So I have here a piece of willow, and I'll take a slice out of it with my knife. Okay. Compare this now with my Mora. Alright, not bad either. The Buck 110. Not bad. Let's try this. Mora. Yeah. It might be a tough bit of wood. Let's get another little piece. Right, I have another piece. Not bad. Easier. Buck 110 again. Good slicer too. And my Opinel, I think this is a stainless, pretty sure. That's good. That's very good. Yeah, very similar. Buck 110. Opinel. Otter Messer. Anchor Knife. More is not bad either, I tell you that. I think these two are the most similar. There's very, very little in it. I found the Buck 110 to be a good slicing knife, and it's slicing well here, but I think it's just a smidgen behind these. This is good too, but again, just a smidgen. The Opinel I've always rated very highly as a slicer, and I think these are very, very similar. As I said, this knife was given to me on loan from Stephen in the UK. Thank you very much, Stephen, for that, and I'm so sorry it took me so long to get around to this. My most sincere apologies. So what do I think of this? Well, I like it very much, and I liked it so much that I decided to put my money where my mouth is, and I've bought myself my own Anker knife, Anker Messer knife, complete with paper and boxes if you're into all of that. So that's the Otter Anchor Knife, or Anker Messer in German. I think it's an excellent little knife, a good slicer, good little working knife, perfect size and shape, and I like the sheepsfoot blade. I like that very much. And what can I say? I can only recommend it. I would advise you get one. And Stephen, thank you so much for sending this, and I'll get it back to you now. Okay? Thank you very much. Right, on to axe destruction. Okay, so I've gone back home and I have some wood chopping to do, which I think is a good test. So let's see how this handle holds up. Sticky stuff. That's using my head. Right, I've cut this amount of wood, or split it, and there's no sign of it getting loose or having any effect on it whatsoever. I keep using it away as a splitting axe, and when it eventually fails, I'll write that in the description. How's that for you? Now this handle is made with fresh wood, and it is going to shrink very, very rapidly. So I'm going to have to readjust it. I'll certainly have to put a new wedge in it as well. But we'll see how long it lasts. Thus far I can certainly say it would certainly get you out of trouble. So that was the Bushcraft, an emergency axe handle with the Otter Messer. Hope you enjoyed it, guys, and thanks very much for watching. Stay safe and well. All the best from Vinnie's Day Off. Bye bye.